Yeah. Hey guys, all right, just before the show starts, I wanted to let you guys know that my fight against cancel culture is still happening. Please go to the description below. There's a link titled Support My Fight Against Cancel Culture. If you want to help my fight, please consider giving a bit of a donation. All the information's in that link. With that being said, enjoy the show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Let's Talk. I am here once again with a lovely guest, Tamia Sele. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Yes.
To me, it
She is a Stellenbosch student and resident in Stellenbosch as well. And we are here to talk about an interesting topic, to say the least. A tweet was given out not too long ago about how Stellenbosch or white people in Stellenbosch shouldn't be afraid of the protests that are happening, that it won't turn violent. Everybody knows about the Josie to Stellenbosch, I believe it is, and I believe it was PAC or POC, I can't remember, that said, PAC, yeah, that said that we're going to, well, their posters seemed violent in my opinion, but apparently some people say it wasn't. So I decided to have someone who is in Stellenbosch to come on the show and talk about or what's been happening in Stellenbosch and what the vibe is. So, Tamia, let's start off like this. Just introduce yourself very briefly and take it away.
Hey, so I'm Tamia. I'm studying at Stellenbosch in second year. I also live in Stellenbosch, but unfortunately, due to the whole coronavirus situation, I had to move out of res. But I do live quite close, and I have grown up in an area quite close to Stellenbosch my whole life. So in and out of Stellenbosch, and yeah, so we did get into contact through the discussion that happened on Twitter. And for me, I felt it was very important that that narrative of Stellenbosch be addressed because, we all had a viewpoint of Stellenbosch. I, for one, did have a viewpoint of, Stellenbosch is this conservative town where everyone's probably going to be racist when I get there. And then last year when I moved to Stellenbosch, I had all these preconceived ideas of what it would be like. So I think people's views are due to the past. Stellenbosch does have a past. But I will say, like, once you get to live there and experience it for yourself, you do realize that, it's not the town that everyone still has the view that it is. Yeah, like, obviously everyone thought Stellenbosch, most people think Stellenbosch is racist. When I moved to Stellenbosch, I also had that idea, and I also thought that, I'm studying a political science module, so is my lectures going to be like very conservative? To my surprise, when I got there, most of my lectures are Marxist, which was quite weird for me. And I mean, I've yet to have I've yet to have a racial experience in Stellenbosch, but I've definitely had discrimination through like different tribes, so tribalism, because, my dad's Zulu and my mom's colored, so no one really knows where to fit me in. Are you this enough? Are you that enough? So the race thing wasn't an issue, more which tribe I belonged to, which was completely not how I like viewed Stellenbosch to be like. So like walking in town, obviously Stellenbosch is not just a student town. There are many other residences, and when I go to town, whatever, with friends, without friends, I've not had the experience that most people view. And as a person of color, if Stellenbosch didn't want people like, of a different race there, then I surely would have experienced it. Although that's just my experience, I can't speak for everyone. There has been racial incidences in Stellenbosch, but for an overall experience, not from my side.
See, now that's good to hear. That there isn't any form of, well, I mean, I don't know. Like you said, through your experience, it's been a-okay. Everybody's been welcoming. I'm sure you have a lot of. Tell us about your friends. Like, you have a lot of
Yes.
what?
So I mean, my friends, I live in res, which is on campus, and I've got friends of many different races, many different cultures. Not that it matters to me, because I'm a person that says that your human race is more important than your race. So, I mean, like, even from schooling, for me, we live in an area where there is a local primary school, but at that primary school, I went to pre-primary there for a little bit, and I had a racial incident. So my dad removed me from that school, went to a different pre-primary, and then primary school, high school, um, same experience. You know, racially, there is a few ignorant people in this world, obviously, who, you know, I always say you have to be somewhat of an ambassador for your race, because kids are socialized. So once you get into an environment where there's someone of a different culture or a different race, you kind of have to be that spokesperson in a sense, where you're like, you know what, not all people of this race do this.
Yeah.
To show people, you know, that that stereotypes that you have and you've been told your whole life is not exactly true, which is quite unfortunate. But you know, Stellenbosch, living in res, surely for the last year and a bit, I would have experienced, you know, that tremendous feeling of, you know, I'm oppressed, or I'm not wanted here. I would have left in that case, because I mean, I went into university as a Marxist feminist who had certain views, and I was against a lot of narratives. And then when I got there, people knew these views and they respected it. And me respecting theirs, we'll have discussions. Yes, there are a few people who turn a discussion into an argument, but a healthy debate. And I mean, like, we have so many different communities on campus, but that whole division is prevalent. You can see that there are certain reses who do, I won't say prefer, because I'm not really sure that's what they're going for, because obviously they have to meet the quota, and that's unfortunate as well. But majority of reses have traditions and have a majority white population. There is one race where there is a lot of racism that takes place, but that is a failure on the university's part, because for years no one's addressed it. And yeah, there was a few unfortunate situations, but as I said, like, even if you have a few bad experiences, like let's say you've had 5 racial discriminations your entire life, but then you have 10 good ones from the same race. So say that person was a white person, that 10 good experiences people forget about, and then they just stick to the 5, and constantly through the media that 5 is always brought up. So when you see George Floyd dying through the hands of a white police officer, that trigger of, you know, all white people are racist keeps being brought up, instead of you looking at it as, I've had these many good experiences, why not, like, think of those more without forgetting about the oppression, yes, but don't let the few determine your entire viewpoint of a race. And yes, it was a few people, so that's not the entire race. So you saying white people not wanting black people in Stellenbosch just shows that, like, maybe yes, you've had racial experiences, and I'm not discrediting that, but your viewpoint of an entire race is now that a community in Stellenbosch is going to be racist automatically because it's a predominantly white area. And I mean, through the state as well, being hearing the topics of white monopoly capital, Stellenbosch mafia, so automatically your brain goes into the direction of racist Stellenbosch. Like, if I can urge people to go into Stellenbosch now and see it for yourself, I can promise you you're going to have a good experience. And if you have a bad experience the one day you happen to be there, go again and then decide for yourself, instead of thinking of, you know, Stellenbosch's past is definitely Stellenbosch's present.
Yes. Well, as the tweet said, apparently white people should be afraid, or shouldn't be afraid, to have black people in Stellenbosch, or at least the PAC, and that they were not going to be violent. Once again, I've seen some of the posters and I saw some of the comments. They seem
Yeah,
threatening to me.
they do.
Did you hear anything about the protest? Was it intense? Was it crazy? Did it get out of hand?
I wasn't in Stellenbosch at the time, but obviously, like, A, you have the PAC and you know their history. And B, we've all seen what their poster said, and we also saw what the people who were joining the protest said. So there was this thing of saying from, I think it started at 9 until, white people are dead. Or, like they wanted people to have that viewpoint of, this could get violent. And I, for one, thought to myself, like, with them putting out that threat, knowingly the PSC, what the PSC has done before, I would take it seriously. So it wasn't that they didn't want black people in the community. They didn't want this town to be destroyed because, I mean, like, the economy is already so bad. I love Stellenbosch. So now if I'm going to go back to Res and my town is completely destroyed, like, I'm not going to enjoy it as much as I did before. And it's going to feel a bit empty because now, like, businesses are already closing. So now you're going to add extra pressure onto the municipality and government to fix it. And that's going to take quite a while. So that's now pushing tourists out as well. But the protests, from what I saw, didn't gain as many people as they said they would, which I'm glad because it would have turned violent, I think, just by the looks of the videos and just the commentary that came along with it. And I know people are frustrated. People do want change, but they have to remember that there is an agenda that's being pushed. And if you're going to destroy someone's property, what good is that going to do? Like, you're gonna kill them, what good is that going to do? So, like, I took the threat seriously. I wouldn't have walked around Stellenbosch knowing that people were coming on their way to Stellenbosch. When I saw the message, I sent it to everyone because even though it didn't happen, it could have happened. And I mean, yeah, we didn't know what they were expecting or preparing for. Because, like, looking at all the farm murders that's taking place, I would take that threat seriously because, I mean, you've got people like Malema who's going around saying, kill the bush, shoot the farmer, kill the bush. So, like, I take it serious because, like, there is this racial tension right now in the world and we don't know what to expect.
If you don't mind me asking, and you can say no to this question, I'll understand. How old are you?
20, turning 21.
Turning 21.
So I didn't grow up during apartheid.
Well, that's actually not what I want to know because I'm 31. I just turned 31. So there's quite an age gap between us. And from what I see, okay, so I started my comedy career 10 years ago in Stellenbosch. So I have a soft spot for Stellenbosch. And when I was there, I didn't feel any racial tension at all. Yeah, no one ever treated me badly or my fellow comedians badly who were colored or black or Indian or whatever. No one ever had a problem at all. I saw a very diverse crowd come to the shows as well. But I guess my point here is being 20, new, almost like a new generation. How is race something that 20-year-olds talk about, like when you go out with friends and stuff like that? Is that like a common thing that you guys talk about, or is it only when you see it in the media?
No. I think it also depends on you because, like, people, for example, don't like engaging in politics. So people are very sensitive to the topic. But, like, for me, for example, I'm in a committee in Res where we do engage in these things. So it's called critical engagement, where we do engage and talk critically about issues that is happening in our society. Luckily for me, I do have a course where those topics do come up. And there are people of many different races and backgrounds in those classes as well who do engage with those topics. Unfortunately, as I said, people are socialized. So there are going to be 20-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 5-year-olds even, who are racist. And it's not because they were born racist, it's because they were socialized to be racist. So, for example, a couple of years ago, we had neighbors and their kids I kid you not, every single day would come and knock on our door like at 6 o'clock in the morning, calling Umi and Tani to my parents. So they would come in and just chill with us and whatever, and they'd spend the entire day at our house. Their parents lived they lived 2 doors down. So when those kids came, they were there all the time. And then suddenly one day they stopped coming. And then when my dad saw them, they were like, "Nee, ons kan nie kom nie want julle het kieme." Swart means het kieme. Do I need to translate that? No.
Well,
It's basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, kids that's been there all the time, never experienced any racial or prejudice towards them, suddenly are drawing back because their parents said, no, black people have diseases. So those kids, I'm not going to say they're racist because that was just an ignorant thing that they took up from their parents. So how do we curb that if, there is a generation who, we go to school with people of different races now. I was privileged enough to do so. Unfortunately, there are communities where schooling isn't up to scratch, but for majority of us, we do engage with different races. So for us, as I said before, we're kind of engaging with people and realizing what we've been socialized to believe is not true. If you look at Fees Must Fall, that was one of the first movements where people of different races came together. People my age came together and they took up and fought for a cause, and they kind of got it right. So even though the topic is spoken about, I don't think many of us are going to stick to the racial narrative. For me, I view the people joining Black Lives Matter now, for example, as people wanting, because society has white people up here and black people down here. So they're wanting to join this cause to sort of reach an equality, but I don't think they're knowing that they're doing something that's, Black Lives Matter is not the best organization. So I think joining Black Lives Matter, you're taking a route, you see where you want to have an end goal, but the route you're taking might not be the best one. But people my age and a bit older, a bit younger, are genuinely fighting for equality for everyone, especially when it comes towards racial lines. The experience of racism in and amongst us isn't as bad as an experience I would have from someone who's about 50 years old, for example, because their viewpoints are still, a bit old-fashioned and conservative. So even though we do talk about it, I don't think that we experience it, but it's not as heavy as someone would have experienced during apartheid, for example.
Yeah, because you often hear on Twitter especially that apparently we're still in the 80s and the 60s and the 50s. By the way, some of these people on EFF accounts and all these other accounts that just keep on saying racism is everywhere. And I don't speak to a lot of 20-year-olds, so I just wanted to know what is. Thank you for answering that question, because I really wanted to know is the younger generation talking about it? And if they are, what is the discussion? It sounds good. At the end of the day, I do this channel as well to just talk about these issues, issues like we're talking about now, because I believe that if we communicate and we talk through it, we might actually get to some conclusion or solution even. So you mentioned off air that you wanted to talk about the privilege aspect of you being in Stellenbosch. Now, before we do that, I do want to address some of the comments that have come through. Thank you, everybody who's watching. Chico Munez, who is also a Stellenbosch student and is studying, I believe, music. I could be wrong. And he says I was not going to miss this one. Talking about the protesters, he said, but they issued a violent threat. Mr. Punisher's here saying hello. Explorer has a question for you. Interesting. What is your career plans and ambitions after your studies? If you want to answer that, you can.
Okay, so obviously going into university, I had certain ideologies. And through this lockdown process, that ideologies have changed. So that has definitely changed my views of what I want, what field I want to go into, simply because I discovered for myself through research the narrative that's being pushed. So yes, I was, as I mentioned on Twitter before, a Marxist-Leninist who had certain views and like, anti-Trump. If you go to my Twitter now, I've got Trump 2020 in my bio. So through research and through time, really just figured out, you know what, we've been lied to. There's an agenda, and what I thought was real wasn't. I thought that I was joining an organization or a movement with an ideology, thinking that, this is how I'm going to change the future, because I've always wanted equality, and, I wanted to bridge that gap between the rich and the poor. And so I wanted to go into politics, and I still do, but I wanted to go into diplomacy. Obviously, that's mostly reserved for certain people with certain surnames, like the Mandelas. So for me now, I think I still want to go into a political field. What at the moment, I'm still not sure, but probably political analyst still. But yeah, I might want to go back and do a law degree.
Oh, interesting. Okay, wow, law is tough, man. I know a few lawyers. Yeah, but it sounds great. I do want to ask you about what made you shift. I mean, I know you said it was you finding out the narrative, but I would like to get into that maybe a bit later. Let's talk about, if there's time, we'll talk about it. Let's talk about the whole privilege thing that you wanted to address. So take it away.
So people have this viewpoint that obviously my parents worked to get us into a good school, and so we've had a good education. We in Model C schools. I've got a younger brother, and they worked to get us there. I mean, both my parents had nothing when they got married, and they worked to get there. So when I say I went to Paardeljvallei, which is a school in Somerset West, and most people know where it is and know what school it is, people view, oh, you're a person of privilege, how did you get there, because majority of us Black people can't get into that school. And then, when you explain to them how things work and how your parents work, not discrediting their parents working, but, that focus of my parents saying, we're going to have our kids go to a good school, that really, I'm so thankful for that. But when you have this education in comparison to someone who is your age in school, which is a bit with less privilege, where they have pit toilets and they like 50 in a class. Luckily, we were like about 30 in a class. So that one-on-one communication with teachers were a bit more possible. Yes, that is seen as a better education, I agree, but that isn't a privilege. It should be your right. You should have the right to get a good education. So that gap that the government is still breaching, like, why is my situation different to yours if we are the same age, for example? So yeah, I am going to Stellenbosch and you didn't get into an institution, like that unfortunately the system is rigged against most people, and then when you get in, it's, oh, you're a special Black, or like, how did you do that and whatever. And you can't view education as a privilege. It should be a right. So the less privileged schools are unfortunate, but they should be brought up instead of me being brought down now suddenly because I'm in a situation of privilege. Like, there's this narrative that if you go against what is, like, for example, I'm not joining the Black Lives Matter movement, then people are like, okay, but you're not supposed to do that because you're Black, you're supposed to support us and whatever. And I'm like, okay, so I obviously know something that you don't know, and when you try to explain it to them, they really don't want to listen to you. And then you have white people, I'm not going to mention names, who come at you and tell you, you know what, you're Black and I'm white, so I am Black, so you can't be racist and I can be racist. That narrative should stop, because now, like, you're telling me that when a white person calls a black person a monkey, that's completely wrong. Everyone takes up arms, media headlines, black Twitters in spiral. But then when a black person calls a white person a pig, everyone just laughs at it. So like, why is that different? So when I speak up against you saying that a white person's a pig and a black person being called a monkey, I'm in the wrong, because I should just be talking up against the one that, the black people are being oppressed. Like, when did racism ever be like, when was it ever limited to one race being oppressed and many other races, like, so firstly, my way of thinking shouldn't be seen as, me being better than anyone. No one's better than anyone. I decided for myself that I wasn't going to allow race to be a factor because I'm a human first. I'm not going to view every single white person as racist simply because I had a few racist experiences. And what's ironic for me is it's easy for a person of a different culture to come and attack me and discriminate against me, but they're the first ones that want to shout racism when it's a white person. So why are you allowed to discriminate against someone, but when someone does it to you, the world must come to an end now because you feel attacked? So firstly, no one is a better black. I mean, this viewpoint of me wanting to be white simply because of my views aligning with what they think is right-wing or white supremacy because I'm supporting Trump needs to end. Like, why do you still, in this day and age, look at a person's skin color before anything? I mean, you'll have a situation where there's two people having a fight, and it just so happens to be a white person and a black person, and everyone assumes that it's a racial fight. Instead of, maybe stopping the fight or discovering for yourself why they were actually having an argument or a fight. But it automatically goes to racism. Not everything is racist.
Absolutely. Okay, so there is a few things you said there that I don't know if I should open the discussion because we're going to veer off topic. So maybe I'll have you back. And just to make sure I understand. So you think, or you believe, or your opinion of, is that education should be a right, not a privilege. That's the side that you stand on, correct? Okay.
Yes.
I disagree with that to a certain extent, if I'm honest. I think that the word privilege is used as a weapon. Like you got white privilege, you got all this. I'm not saying that white privilege doesn't exist to some extent, but privilege, I think, because you said something very interesting. So you said, your parents worked hard, they were able to give you that stuff, so they worked their butts off to give you a fighting chance in society, right? So that you can get a job, so that you can grow up and be a functioning member of society, right? I don't think that's a privilege. That's an earned right, or an earned. For you to go to Stellenbosch, it's not a privilege. It's more like because your parents worked that hard to be able to pay for your studies. I find that definition or that use of the word privilege in that instance hard to swallow. Because, yes, I understand that, especially in South Africa, there are other people that don't have all those chances, or their parents didn't work or couldn't maybe get a job and all that stuff. But I don't think it's necessarily, how do I put this? I believe firmly it's the ANC's fault.
Yes.
ANC promises all these kind of things. It's never delivered. You have people in those areas that have, like you mentioned, dismal schools. The funding isn't there. Teachers aren't even there. They're there for 3 hours and then they leave. You mentioned the toilet situation. All that stuff that is real, that is happening. But when people look at someone like you and they say, well, oh, you're privileged because you get to go to that Stellenbosch school and I don't, you're right. We shouldn't now bring you down to their level, we should uplift them. But I don't think
Mm-hmm.
privilege has anything to do with it. I think it's just the people in power that are robbing everyday citizens from being able to have opportunity to go to any school that they want to, whether it be
They
in
want.
Somerset West, Stellenbosch, UCT, whatever the case may be. And it's got to do with allowing people to be able to have opportunity within the market that we have so that they can have jobs and stuff like that. Now, obviously, right now, I know COVID is a problem. We're all suffering. Okay, I get that. So before anyone starts going like, yeah, but like we're in trouble now and blah blah blah, I get that. I'm saying before COVID, all right. This COVID just arrived, and before COVID, ANC was still messing up. So
Yes.
I don't think ANC has been kind or good or cares about its citizens because they've been talking about uplifting them. And when you uplift a citizen by giving them opportunities to be part of the economy, to be part of society with a proper education, a proper skill set, so that they can go and be a doctor, they can go and be a lawyer, they can go and be whatever it is they want to be, and then that continues that cycle because now I'm able to get a job, I can work my butt off for my child to be able to go to a proper school. I I just don't think that's a privilege. It's just hard work.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion.
That's why I said it's a right. Maybe I should have said the right to the opportunity to have
Yes.
it, because the ANC is taking away that right to the opportunity by oppressing certain races, or like creating that bridge in society, the gap. So yes, it should be a right to the opportunity in that case. I don't call it a privilege. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like I think something else is you mentioned oh man, I can't remember now, but all right, so we've spoke now about Stellenbosch and the fake racial tension that is there. Um, Here's something you mentioned. There's a narrative being pushed right now, and I guess we have a bit of time now, so we can actually talk about this. You mentioned that there's a narrative that you used to be a Marxist Lenin and all that stuff, and I want to know because I'm very curious. Because I'll be honest, I also used to think I was like hectic liberal and like, yeah, I'm on the right side, woohoo, yeah, freedom for everyone, all that stuff. I too was red pilled. So I want to know, being that is quite, that's like left. That's
Yes.
Marxist Lenin is like left, left.
Left, left.
What happened?
So obviously lockdown gave you a lot more time to do a lot more things that you wanted to do. So for me, I love doing research. I don't really read much, but I would read like articles or watch videos on certain things. So I've always been into like conspiracy theories and whatever. And so for me, like I kind of took the red pill in the sense that I had scattered information that I didn't realize fitted into one. So during lockdown, obviously having more time, and I started to realize, you know what? My views on people like Trump, for example, were pushed through the media, because I, for one, was someone who like loved watching the news, and I thought I was kind of woke for watching the news, but like not watching one channel, skipping different channels. And I thought, you know what, if I'm watching CNN, I'm getting the American side, and watching Russia Today, I'm getting the Russian viewpoint. So you know what, that's not the same, it's two polar opposites. So like I'm getting good information. And then I realized, you know what, certain media companies are mainly owned by a few top, like they're different chained media companies, but actually there's, I think, about 6 companies who in essence own most of the media that's being pushed down our throats through propaganda. And then I was like, okay, one topic, Trump. Well, most people look at Trump as this racist monster. And I was like, why do I hate Trump again? And then when I researched for myself, I was just like, okay, here's this guy that I thought was a racist because he was building a wall, not knowing why he was building the wall. because I was like, he's keeping Mexico out. And then I realized why he was doing it. And then I reevaluated, did a lot more homework, joining the QAnon movement. So getting a lot more information from people from different spheres of life, different ages, different backgrounds, and just hearing their perspective. And then I was like, you know what? I limited myself my entire life. I put myself in little boxes. I put myself in the Marxist Leninist box. So when I was analyzing certain things, I wasn't looking at it from a conservative's view or a liberal's view. I was looking at it simply through mine. So I decided, you know what, let's open all those boxes and let's keep the titles out of it. So when someone asked me what is, where would I put myself, my ideologies politically, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to tie myself to a title because that's going to limit me when looking through different lenses and actually analyzing different situations. So through that and a lot of research and time, I was like, okay, there's certain things that I've been fooled through. I watched the full Cabal channel for the first time, and I was like, okay, whoa. But still keeping in mind that, you know what, this could also be propaganda, but just realizing what lies we've been fed and how many more lies there still are to be discovered. So going down different rabbit holes and yeah, so complete shift because I like when I communicate with my friends through video chats and whatever, obviously talking, we engage in political discussions and then suddenly, whoa, your views have changed. What happened? I mean, most of my friends still respect my views, which is great. So lucky for that because I know a lot of people stop communicating in all forms when you say, I like Trump now. So yeah, very drastic shift. But I think I just removed myself from the titles and the little boxes and just freelancing, I guess.
All right. Well, that's pretty much the same thing that happened to me. I was also like, I remember when Trump got elected. During that time, I was like hectically, like when he was running for president, even I was like hectically against it. I was like, no, this guy, oh my word, the apprentice guy is gonna run for president. He's gonna ruin America and all that stuff. And then, so yeah, for the first, I think 2, 3 years of his presidency, I was very much against him. I was like, I hated him, blah blah blah. And then someone told me, like literally told me, Joe, you know that the economy's been the best it's been since the Clinton years. And I was like, really? And then I did research, and that was the first step. Then everything else started to unravel, and I also did research, watched different conspiracy theories, watched different other, even mainstream media. I like to try and do as much research about everything, and I think that's important. It's something that Benner Weber and I on a show, funny you should say that on my channel, we say a lot. Like, don't be afraid to question everything, and question, 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 question again.
Yeah.
Go to many different sources, take what you can, remember what you can, and see. Because after you start looking at many different sources, you start to see a picture. You start to see certain things moving and aligning and agendas being made and all that stuff. So, spot on. Absolutely spot on. I think it's ironic because the left or the woke, I would say the woke mainly, the far left, like to say that they're open-minded and tolerant,
Oh, yeah.
but I think it's individuals such as you and me that are actually the open-minded ones and tolerant ones because I like to sit down with even the far left or the far right and have a discussion and try and understand why do you think this way, and I think it enriches myself because then I can understand, okay, this is where you're coming from. Unfortunately, you're kind of
Yeah.
wrong, but I get it. I get where you're coming from, but you're wrong. Like you're right. You're just wrong.
Yeah.
um,
Um,
all right, so I'm gonna get to some of the comments that came through here when we were talking about schools and university, and when you mentioned what you wanted to be. Sorry, when you mentioned what your um, goals are. Explorer saying this is inspiring. Continue to enjoy the journey and personal growth. So that's a nice
thank
comment from
you.
him. And then I think you mentioned a school in Somerset West that you went
Mm-hmm.
to. Apparently, Chico's brother went there, and
Okay.
he's there. You guys are about the same age, so maybe you guys know each other. Chico, what's your brother's name? That would probably help to figure that out. Then the Pet Zoo film crew saying, back in apartheid days, me and my best friend were thrown out of Stellenbosch Library. Me, because tanned like a Spaniard, and sorry, it went away. And my friend for being colored. They were 12 years old, first experience of race discrimination, never knew. So, like you said, it did happen, but it's much different now. Gentle Inflatable is saying not all whites can afford university, by the way, which is also very true. Very, very, very
True.
true.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Punisher saying, if your friends cannot accept you for who you are, they're not true friends. Very, very
Very.
true. Unfortunately,
Yes.
since I've been a little bit more outspoken about my beliefs and my expression, I have lost a few friends.
Friends.
But I'm being true to me, and that's all that matters. So apparently, Tamia, we're being a bit too serious because
Oh, wow.
I have a comment here that says, "Let's chat about some lighter stuff. Good vibes." One, what's your most embarrassing memory?
Oh
Two,
no.
there's four here. So two, what's your favorite movie? Three, three people, dead or alive, invite to dinner. So number three is three people that you would invite to dinner. They
Oh
can be dead or
no.
alive. And then number four is a very random one. Favorite sneaker brand.
Sneaker brand. Okay.
All right, so let's start with number one. Most embarrassing memory.
The internet lives forever, so I'm not going to do that to myself. Um, no, no, thank you. So that's a hard pass, but you can pass me a DM and I might answer that question.
Yo, but they might
Um,
snapshot it. They might snapshot it. Be careful of that one.
favorite movie was number two.
Yes. What's your favorite movie?
Ooh, okay, so I'm a bit of I don't really watch much movies. Um, yeah, so I like crying a lot. So when I do watch movies, it's more like rom-com. My boyfriend just died. Like, yeah. But yeah. So my favorite rom-com slash crying movie is Me Before You. And then I do like movies like Inception and The Matrix. So two different sides of it, but yeah, depends on my mood and depends if I'm in the mood to watch a movie. Three people that I would invite for dinner,
Dead or alive?
dead or alive. Donald Trump, definitely. Katie Hopkins, I do
Interesting.
I'm quite fond of her, and Candace Owens. I'm saying that because I don't really want the work people at my dinner table if Donald Trump's going to be there. So, yeah, no. And I don't remember the sneaker brand.
Yeah.
I'm not really a brand person. I've got Vans on now. I do find Nike's more comfortable. I don't like Adidas, so I hope
Okay.
that.
Well, I'll go next. Most embarrassing memory. Okay, I might come back to that one. I don't mind talking about depending on which one I can think of. I mean, I'm a clumsy person, so there's a lot of embarrassing moments for me. Favorite movie? Oh man, off the top, like okay, so I'm a movie buff. Like I love movies. You see Marvels behind me, so obviously I like the Marvel movies. But every time I think of a favorite movie, one pops up. So like first now I thought of Endgame, then I thought of Inception, then I thought of The Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight Rises. Then I thought of Revolutionary Road, and then it just keeps on going. So for me, what I can say is I like, if I was to choose my favorite genre of a movie, like you did rom com, I enjoy rom coms. I also enjoy, but my favorite would be like the ones, any movie that's based on a true story. I always love those movies that are based on a true story. Um, and then number three, who I would invite to dinner, dead or alive. I would love, he's dead, but I would have loved to have Robin Williams for dinner. Oh man, that would have been amazing. Being a comedian, I'm a huge fan. Um, and then, okay, if it's only three people, like Trump can have dinner anywhere. It's let's see, three people I would like to have for dinner. You know what? You might be shocked about this one. Julius Malema. I would actually want to sit down and have dinner with Julius Malema because, yeah, I know. I can see your faces like but the reason being, right, is that I've always said this, and I want to be this kind of person, right, where Julius is probably like, I think he's, even though he sometimes acts stupid, I think he's kind of smart. And Gareth Cliff once said that even he would sit down with Julius and have a discussion, not agree with everything he says, but have a discussion. And I want to understand Julius. I want to understand why he thinks. What happened to you, Julius, in your past? Who hurt you? Those kind of questions, you know? I'm not saying I'm going to agree with the guy and I'm going to condone anything he said. Like, I'll call him out and I'll be like, re-upload this altogether. All right, so Julius Malema, yes, I would very much like to sit down with him, understand him a little bit better. Not necessarily at all agree. Probably won't agree. He'll probably throw the food in my face, but I don't know. I just think it would be an interesting conversation. Then the third person I would have to dinner is a man that I don't know why, but when I read that question, it was the name that popped up in my mind. Kurt Cobain. He's also dead, but I would love to have dinner with him.
Okay, very.
Yeah.
Just to your point of Julius Malema, I was saying before the internet kind of that if I were to have Julius Malema over, I'd have to have someone like Socrates as well, just to question him on my behalf, because I don't think I would be able to do it.
That's actually interesting. That's also someone I wouldn't mind having at dinner as well. All right. So the fourth question.
Philosophy.
Yes. Oh man, I love philosophy. All right. So the fourth question was sneakers. Was it sneakers? Yeah. I like DC. I like any skateboarding shoe because I used to be a skateboarder, and I find those skating shoes very comfortable. And I wear them. I wear a pair of DC now. I need to get new ones, and that's the thing. Skateboarding shoes last forever, as long as you're not skateboarding.
Yeah.
If you're skateboarding, then they go, you get through them. Guys, can you let me know if this is on the same stream, or has YouTube opened a new stream? Because if that's the case, just let me know in the live chats very quickly. If that's the case, then I will have to just put these two streams together so that it's all in one stream. I'm very, very sorry, but if it's on the same stream, fantastic. Then I don't have to do that. All right, so that was a bit of a oh, it's a different stream. Okay, I'm gonna have to edit. All right, so we actually spoke about a lot. We spoke about Stellenbosch, race, racism, your views on schools and or universities, and also what made you shift from. Would you say you were woke?
Sorry?
Would you say you were woke back in the day?
Were woke. Past tense, yes. Sadly, so embarrassed to admit that. But I'm glad I wasn't a woke person on Twitter. Because then I think I would have been following people like, I don't know if I should say her name because she does get quite angry, Bianca. And that's my embarrassing story. I was woke. Or woke.
Oh yeah, the embarrassing story. I forgot about that. Okay. Let's see. Well, okay, let me be honest. I think something embarrassing just happened to me right now. The internet cut. But also, you mentioned I couldn't tell, but you mentioned that your boyfriend died.
Boyfriend?
Did you say that your
No.
boyfriend died? Oh, okay. I thought you said your boyfriend died.
I don't have a boyfriend.
Okay,
No.
okay. Sorry, I misunderstood. You were talking about romantic comedy, or sorry, movies about
Oh,
rom com.
yeah, the title, well, the movie is like The Fault in Our Stars and Me Before You. The boyfriend died. No, I don't have a boyfriend.
Okay, all right, yeah. Because see, what I thought was you said oh like my boyfriend died or something like that, and then I laughed, and then I was like, wait a second, did she mean that her boyfriend really died and that she watches rom coms because she's healing?
Document.
So I thought I was like embarrassed now because I'm like, oh my word, like I just laughed at a woman that lost her boyfriend. Like how terrible am I? All right, cool. Okay, so most embarrassing story. I'm trying to think, man. I can't say that one on internet. I can't say that one. That one's like way no. That one's like friends, close friends only know that one. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do it. You're right. Rather not. Oh man. Okay, so let's see here what people are saying. It's a different stream. It's a new one. Yeah, okay, I know now. I left a message on stream about a new one. For those not familiar, what does it say here? For those not familiar with your guest, please tell us. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. For those of you that are just tuned in, it's Tamia Sele, who is a student in Stellenbosch, and we were talking about the protests that happened in Stellenbosch, the Josie to Stellenbosch protests from POC or PAC, whatever they're called. They're so unimportant, I always forget. And then we spoke about other things, basically debunking the stigma that is around Stellenbosch, that it is a racist city. Tammy is saying that her experience has been nothing but pleasant and great vibes. And then we spoke a bit about Tammy. We got to know her, got to know her beliefs, her ideologies, where she wants to go in life. And yeah, so please, if you're just tuning in, okay, rewatching this stream right now, I will, like I said, I will edit and put them together, and I'll upload the whole thing in one episode. Should we send you data, Joe? Okay, guys, I don't know what's going on with my internet. This is the third time it's happening. I'm hoping it's not an eCam problem, but hopefully I can sort it out. You do not need to send me data. I have unlimited. My audience are funny. Uh,
Well, you are a comedian,
yeah.
so.
Rhodesians will never die. That's literally the name of the YouTube channel. Saying hi, Joe and pretty lady.
Oh,
Cool. Is there
thank
anything?
you.
We're approaching the hour. So, is there anything you want to get off your chest or you want to say before we close off?
Um, well, we both discovered that research got us to get out of our little boxes. So I find it very important that people just do their homework and really research to understand the other side of it more. I think that's more important because now you hear the word Donald Trump and you're like, no, no, thank you, you don't want to listen further. So definitely do your research and try to unplug yourself from the system. Like unfortunately for me, being in a university, I'm still kind of plugged in. If I wasn't in an institution right now, I think I would have been a bit more free. But learn to do things without the mainstream media because that saves you a lot of mental strain. And yeah, like I think just realize that there is an agenda and there are people that want you divided. And be a human first, because then if you're a human first, you're going to stand up and stand alongside anyone and do anything that will help society. And so, yeah, as I said, realize there's an agenda and there's people who want to control you. You must just remember that you have more power than they do, and it will be even more if you can join with your fellow human beings to help save this world. and do that before they control us more, because once you're in their net, it's going to be a bit more difficult to get out. So start doing your homework now and realizing, you know what, this could be the future. I don't want it. Let's do something about it. Continue FitTech ANC Fridays. I love it. And yeah, just enjoy life. Be happy and love, because love really does conquer anything. And like as David Icke always says, you're a human, infinite collection of consciousness, living experience. So if you can remove yourself from those boxes and realize who you are, minus your race, your gender, and all that, you'll go far and you'll be able to do a lot more in life.
Fantastic. I beautifully said, by the way. That is perfect, and I 100% agree with you. Absolutely. Um, through communication, once again, I think that's how we will better ourselves as human beings, and like you said, regarding ourselves as human beings, first. Always do to those how you would like to be treated, or what's that saying? Treat those how you would like to be treated. And yeah, positive vibes all the way. Tamia, in closing, thank you so much for joining
Thank
me. I
you.
want to also mention that this was I believe you said this is your first time being on a YouTube live stream. How did it go?
Yes. I was very nervous to begin with. Like, I'm like, okay, it's live. I say something stupid, everyone's gonna attack me. Uh, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Thank you so much. This was such a pleasant experience. And I do look forward to it. Maybe I'll start accepting the potential live streams from other people now, because in the beginning I was so scared.
Well, it was an absolute pleasure to chat to you. I hope that, you know what, if you ever want to come on my channel and get something off your chest, this channel is a place for that. I encourage anyone and everyone to come and have a chat with me about any topic. And yeah, I believe that those conversations are what are going to help us grow and develop as human beings. Nothing is off the table. I mean, I had Bianca on this channel, so there you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is Tamia Sele. I know that in this current stream right now, there is no description. I know that. I am going to edit, re-upload this show with all the details that was in the previous stream. I'm sorry, internet cut out. So all that will be out there. Tamia, once again, thank you so much for joining me. I was serious. If anytime you want to come and chat to me again on this channel, more than welcome to. I would love
Thank
to
you.
have you back again. So yeah.
Have
Uh,
a beautiful day further.
yeah. All right. So stay on the line with me. I'll give you a proper goodbye on Skype just now. But for everybody else, it's Friday. It's FootTech ANC Friday. So go out there. Alcohol was available. It's closed now. But if you went to the shops and you're having a party, awesome. You can smoke again. That's great. So enjoy your first weekend of alcohol and smokes back, sort of, kind of, halfway. I don't know. But anyway, my point is it's Friday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, ladies and gentlemen. I might do a stream this weekend. I don't know, but I'll definitely be back on Monday. So please, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. Please like this video and continue to share my content. I have more content coming your way. So ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Be kind to one another. And I'll see you at the next one. Good night. Hey guys, so if you enjoyed the show, please consider giving it a like and a share. Don't forget to subscribe as well if you're new to my channel. And if you really enjoyed the content, feel free to join and become a member. Don't forget about my fight against cancel culture. That's in the link in the description below. Support my fight against cancel culture. Go to that link and all the information is there. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching.